Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Janet Yung, and in my channel I share about Feng Shui, 八字, entrepreneurship as well as personal growth, especially in the areas of communication, success and motivation. In today's episode, it will be a continuation of last week's episode about 奇门遁甲 doors, which is really about the activity or the action steps we should be taking to align ourselves either towards our life purpose in terms of our destiny palace in 奇门遁甲, or aligning it to whether is it for our career or for financial management or wealth. So without further ado, let's move on to the next segment where I will share more. Last week, I talked about the 4 doors that is actually part of our 奇门遁甲 chart, which is an alternative of looking at our chart besides the usual 八字 chart. So it's basically, like I mentioned in my first 奇门遁甲 series, a completion of the multifaceted human being in this world. So what I would like to share with you today is the rest of the other 4 doors. And before I do that, let me just give you an example, because I do have questions from clients as to why is there a guardian and what's the difference between a guardian and a door, and how do you utilize and what's the difference. Before I begin on the topic about doors today, let me just share a little bit more. Let's presume we take a person with the guardian in their destiny palace of chief. Now chief, as you know from the video that I shared on the 奇门遁甲 guardians, it's really about helping people, about going the extra distance to help others and making a difference to others. So if you have missed that particular video, please remember to click on this link that I'm showing here so that you can watch and understand about the different 奇门遁甲 guardians. Let's take the example of chief right now. If chief actually is in your destiny palace and your door is that of the open door, so what is the difference between the open door and the live door then? Now, open door, if you remember last week I shared, is really about opening up people and helping people resolve their issues. If you have chief as your destiny palace guardian, one of your life purpose is really to make a difference to people. But how are you going to make a difference to other people? So the door will give you a guide and a tip or insight into what you should be doing. With the open door, then your role in helping and making a difference to other people is really about opening up people, helping them resolve their internal turmoils, looking deep within to see how they can resolve their inner child conflict, like I mentioned in the spiritual growth series itself. So that's really the open door with the chief as your guardian. Now what about that of the live door? If your guardian is the chief and it is with the live door in your destiny palace, then it will be more from the perspective of inspiring other people. Remember, I mentioned that live door is vibrancy, it's full of energy, and you have the capability of inspiring people. So the difference between that and the open door would be, if your guardian is that of the chief and you have the live door, then to make a difference to other people, you will likely be inspiring people either with your actions, with your speech, to go towards each individual's life purpose. So that's the difference when you're looking at taking the relevant action steps towards your life purpose if you're looking at the destiny palace itself. Of course, we can look at the doors in the various different palace, whether it's your career palace or your wealth palace, like I mentioned previously. Let's start off with today's door. Today's first door that I would like to share about is that of the delusion door. So delusion, it's not really about a person having delusion. Delusion is really more about knowledge and sharing. So this person has very deep investigation capabilities. They are able to basically focus, study, investigate, and learn. So if your guardian is that of the moon, especially because it's about learning, then likelihood the way you'll be taking action towards that is you'll be doing a lot of research, a lot of analysis to move towards your life purpose. And that's one way of looking at it. Now, like I mentioned last week, every single activity or door in terms of characteristics, there will be also the negative side. So what's the negative side of the delusion door? The delusion door, if overextended, then becomes someone who tends towards the analysis paralysis. So being self-aware is critical so that you can maximize your strength towards the area of your guardian in terms of your destiny palace, or whether it's your career or your wealth palace itself. The next door that I like to talk about is that of the scenery door. Scenery door people have the ability to beautify things. It's everything about beauty to them. So it's either beautifying the home or helping others have a significant beauty and wellness within themselves from inside out. So if your door is that of scenery, make sure that you are in a role that allows you to do that in order for you to take the relevant steps towards whichever way, whether is it your life purpose, your career, or your wealth itself. Similarly, if you look at beauty, beauty is really superficial. So understanding and grounding yourself, if you have the scenery door, is critical to basically maximize your potential in terms of the steps that you take, but also ensuring that you do not go overboard by only focusing on too much of the beauty and superficial things. So that's the scenery door. The third door that I'd like to discuss today is that of the fear door. Now, fear, if utilized correctly, it's about command and respect. However, if you are someone who is not self-aware, meaning you are not aware of the capability and your ability to command respect or command the authority that you are looking at, then you may be focusing more on the fear aspect, as in your thoughts, overthinking and making yourself think more towards the negative side. So if you have the fear door, it is good to utilize it more from the perspective of gathering command, respect, or if you want to use fear door from a wellness perspective, looking at health, helping other people with health, that will be great. If it is actually your career door, maybe your career has to do with the military that demands command and respect. In that perspective, you can look at it from the fear door itself. If you have the fear door in your destiny, ensure that you do not allow your thoughts to control you. Taking time to meditate and understanding and calming your thoughts, focusing and relaxing your mind would definitely help you move towards where you want to go. And the last door is that of the death door. Now, death door, the name may sound scary, but it is not really the case. Like I mentioned in the previous video, in 奇门遁甲 reading, when we look at the different doors or the different guardians, there's no positive and negative, just that each will have its own characteristics, and how do you maximize and try not to overexert the negative characteristics. So for the death door itself, it's really about death and rebirth. So you're someone who's very good at putting an end to a lingering problem. If you are able to maximize your potential in this particular area, following that of your destiny guardian, then it will be great. Now, if the death door is really in your destiny palace, one key thing you need to remember, it's similar to that of the fear door. Do not let your thoughts control you, because having death in your destiny palace at times brings you lots of fear, and you may not necessarily have that confidence. But if you are aware and maximize your strength, because death, it's really about putting an end to something. So if you are able to put an end to something, means you are able to detach. Therefore, most times you are able to grow and have rebirth quite easily. And this is crucial, especially in the coming period of period 9, where everything changes, and a lot of times because of all the changes we need to face, because the only thing in life that is constant is change, then the ability to capitalize on your door with the death door to have death and rebirth will be great. Let me recap. The first door is that of the delusion door, which is about knowledge and sharing. Maximizing this capability will allow you to push your knowledge and learning to the next level, which is critical in the coming period 9, where reskilling and growth is crucial. The next door is that of scenery, making everything a beauty, which is also an important door in period 9, where 9 is really about fire, is about brilliance and beauty as well. And you have that of the fear door, which is about wellness, about understanding and maximizing how you can have personal power and control. And the last door is that of the death door, which is, if maximized to its limit, it's the ability to have detachment, death, and rebirth. So I hope you have enjoyed today's session and sharing. And if you'd like to find out more about your chart, please remember to click on the link in the video description to get your personalized blueprint report. And I'll see you next week, where I will share more about the stars within our Qi Dunjia chart. So what's the difference between guardian, door, and stars? If you look at guardian is akin to our subconscious, and depending on whether is it in our destiny palace, our career and wealth palace, it will give us the certain guidance from the universe. The doors is really about the actions to take to be in alignment with that guardian or your life purpose. And if you look at the stars is really more about our mental or mind state that governs how we will take those actions. So if you have a complete picture, then it will be great on how you will be moving towards either your life purpose or maximizing your capacity and potential either in your career or wealth. So I'll see you next week, where I'll share with you more about stars. Goodbye.